So, yes, there she is. Oh, that looks lovely, Elin. And I know that you're in Sardinia right now. Is that true?
Yes,
Oh my
greetings
God.
from a nice Sardinia, sunny and shining.
Sunny and shiny. And Sardinia is, of course, one of those places where people live to be 200 years old and live very healthy and wonderful lives. And I'm standing here with a good idea drink. Uh,
I'm glad.
you're glad about that, of course. But tell me, who are you, Elin? Who are you?
Who am I? Well, I have my background and PhD from Lund University, where I worked for about 20 years in research regarding metabolic effects of food. So, focusing a lot on glucose and insulin regulation. And doing a lot of meal studies. So, having people come into the lab and we give them different foods that we have designed with different concepts in them, like fibers or spices or proteins or intact kernels and whatever. And we gave them this to eat. And then we took blood from their fingers, as you were talking about previously, over a 2-hour period to look at their glucose responses. That was a lot of studies we did like that. And then 5 years ago, more or less, I switched over more to the commercial side to put these kind of research into practice, because everything that Robert just talked about I agree on almost everything, I think, and we need to get products out there that are supporting these kind of efforts we want to do with the preventative food concept. So now I work at Aventure, which is a research-based company in Lund, Skåne. And we have a lot of different daughter companies focusing on different science-based food concepts that we try to bring to the market.
Okay, wonderful. And then this good ideas is one of them. But please tell me first, what is this thing called the metabolic syndrome then that you're working with?
So the metabolic syndrome is a collection of metabolic disorders that is used in a way to define people that are at risk of future diabetes or cardiovascular problems. So it contains abdominal obesity, it's blood sugar irregularities, it's the blood lipids that are also out of range. And so it's a joint definition for finding people at risk of developing cardiovascular disease.
Okay, and which is bad, of course, because then you die in
It is
agony.
bad, of course.
Yeah, okay.
Yes.
Okay, very bad. Okay, and this good idea drinks that I'm drinking right now, tell me a bit more about that. What is that?
Yes. So the short story is that it is a lightly flavored carbonated water that you drink just before and with your meal to balance the blood sugar response you get from that meal. So it's actually changing the properties of what you have on your plate without actually changing anything on your plate, just changing your drink. So it contains 5 specific amino acids and chromium, which are elements that we need and get from our diet all the time, but we have put them together because we know from our research that it helps you level off the glucose increase you get when you have a carb-heavy meal.
Okay, so basically, when I drink this, can I eat anything?
Of course, you can eat anything. My mantra is you can eat everything, but not always. But of course, you're supposed to choose, for example, for the carbs, you should choose high quality carbs. So intact structures, whole kernels and things like that, and as much fiber and whole grain that you can get, and also together with other food.
Okay, so probably I go to McDonald's and I get a Happy Meal and I get a good idea. Is that the future then?
Well, why not? I mean, if you are up to having a Happy Meal, I think you can add a good idea and make yourself a favor. But I would, of course, vouch for much more that you turn to real food and maybe cook your meals yourself, or turn to someone that is cooking from real food.
Speaking to the choir here. No, it's we're preaching to the choir. It is. No, I think it's interesting because this is also scientifically underpinned. You actually proven this.
Oh yes, yes. I mean, my whole career actually, the 20 years I did in university, one of my very first studies was the study that kind of sparked the idea for a good idea. So we've been working on it for a long time, and we have like 10 plus clinical trials of different sorts to come up with the formula and to also show that it works. So we have a lot of data and knowledge about this product, and now we are bringing it to the market. And we actually launched it in the US already 2017, but now we are also launching in Sweden. So it's coming, becoming more available.
I think it's super cool, but also let's take a look at this from the structural perspective, because you're based in Lund in Skåne, the southern part of Sweden, which is a powerhouse not just for farming but also for science. And I mean, we haven't associated Sweden so much with food, but it happens to be that we probably should associate Sweden way more with advanced food science than with food.
Absolutely. Absolutely, and I think also the part that Robert was talking about with all the measurement and personalization, going more into understanding how different food products affect certain groups of people, is something that we would want to dig in a lot in. And for Good Ideas account, we really, or already now, are trying to work with these continuous glucose monitors as much as we can for people to really understand how this actual drink can help them and how it affects their body, not just in general, but they can see actual the numbers coming up on a screen. It's very powerful, and it's also a good way for us, or it's a way for people to help us tell the story and tell people that it works, because that's of course the challenge for us to bring our products out there, because it's hard to understand these more scientific messages.
It's interesting. Just so you know, you in the audience, I've taken on the Good Idea Challenge. Actually, I've drank Good Ideas for a month with all my meals. I also did some other dietary changes, and actually my blood sugar levels are down. That's for sure. So something in this equation works, and probably it is all of the pieces together. So,
and Johan, I also liked your comment about when drinking Good Idea, that it really helps you create the habit. It helps you, it signals to yourself that I'm doing something new with my body. I'm going into a new phase.
Yep.
And the drink as such could really help you with that. That's very interesting.
Because seeing these good ideas everywhere in my home, empty and filled bottles, actually reminds me all the time that I need to eat better. Which of course brings us to the next session here on this panel. And you will stay with us, Elin, right?
Yes,
you will
absolutely.
stay with us, even though you're in sunny Sardinia. And because we have a topic here now called Measuring Johan, I'll actually put another chair up here on stage as well, because I think we will become a group of people diving into this, at least for me, highly interesting subject of measuring Johan. Okay.